You guys have heard me say Airbnb is dead, and this guy came in to set the record straight and prove me wrong. I have got the ex-co-host of BiggerPockets. That's
right.
how I like to refer to him now.
The axed co-host.
The axed co-host
Yes.
of BiggerPockets.
They
Robuilt.
They do not spread misinformation. It's Robuilt. And I like to say that I got old Yellard from BiggerPockets.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
Yeah, they killed you. Yeah.
Yeah. They took me out back
and just got rid of you.
the real estate shotgun.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the last time you were here. We talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm living life, man. I still maintain. I'm a happy man. I think it all worked out the way that it was supposed to.
Yep.
Had a good time. I miss DG. I miss I miss showing up and like not having to do it. Like, I produce my own content at home already.
Yeah.
And the one thing that was nice about BiggerPockets is like you just hop on to Zoom and
They do the rest.
They do it all for you. So that was nice. But
Now you got to actually work.
now I hit record. Can you believe that? It's hard for us out there.
I don't believe that. I don't do that. But yeah,
That's
he just walked and did that.
must be nice.
So, bro, Airbnb is dead. Prove me wrong. It's like that sign.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
Okay, let's talk about it. I've seen all the viral Pace Morby and Ryan Pineda TikTok, so I feel like this is an appropriate platform to say that you're wrong, but you're also kind of right. I'm gonna throw you some bones here because I actually don't think that you're incorrect. I think that this is gonna be a hard year for Airbnb hosts for sure.
Even harder than last year.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So here's my analogy, and here's what I like to tell people. So if you can think of like Airbnb as a dartboard, anywhere from 2017 to 2022, the bullseye, like the red part of that dartboard, covered up the majority of the dartboard. Meaning when interest rates were 2.5 to 4%, you could throw a dart at that dartboard, hit a bullseye, and you felt like a king because it was impossible to fail on Airbnb. If you got a 3% interest rate on a mortgage, how are you going to lose?
That's when I was in Airbnb. It was great.
Yeah, same. And I bought a lot of my stuff when things were 2.75 to 3.5. It was the majority of my stuff. So I think what happened was a lot of hosts were like, yeah, dude, I'm a genius. Oh, 4%, no big deal. 5%, okay. 6%, 7%, without really kind of instilling like the art of hosting and learning how to do hospitality correctly. And so that dartboard, that bullseye got smaller, smaller, and smaller. Now you're throwing darts at the board and you're missing, you're kind of on the outskirts. And I think that's where most people are like, yeah, Airbnb, my bookings dried up. Things are slow. Things aren't working anymore. And it's like, yeah, well, the way that you were doing it's not working. Because I think we're now in a level of sophistication in the space where you got to kind of be top tier.
Well, I think there's two elements to this problem, right? Says again. Well, I think there's two elements to the problem, right? One is the actual hospitality side of it, the hosting, the decorating. And I know you guys are doing it now too for people, which is awesome.
Interior design.
Yep. And with that, it's like, okay, that's one element of it. But probably the even harder element, in my opinion, is just the actual investment itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, prices are higher, rates are higher. That means your overall cost of owning the property are higher. And that kind of has eliminated what your profit would have been.
Yeah, so that's a big one. We'll talk about that. I think the other kind of big thing that leads up to that is, I'm just going to say it, I think rental arbitrage is like just the worst version of Airbnb in every way possible.
Yeah.
And it is a niche within Airbnb that incentivizes getting in for as little money as possible.
Yeah.
And so when you come in with as little money as possible and you're spending anywhere from 5 to 10K, and you're competing against the new age investors that are spending $1, $2, and $300,000 to launch an Airbnb, you're not going to do well.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of the people, when I see these YouTube videos and people that are like, it's over, why I'm shutting it down, chances are 9 times out of 10, they were an arbitrage person that spent $7,000 on a 0% interest credit card.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this, right? In my eyes, like I said, it comes down to the property you pick and the investment, the deal, which is what is the main moneymaker of Airbnb in real estate investing anyways. And then there's the actual unit itself and how you're going to decorate it, furnish it, market it, all those things. Let's talk about the investment first.
Yep.
Where are good investments?
Where are they? Like in the countries? Yeah. Well, dude, I'll tell you what, I have an interior design company that is premium, and I do have access to what people are making, because we help people like after we design, we'll create the listing, we'll help you launch it. So I do have access to kind of data around the country, and generally speaking, most of the places, like I think you can have a profitable Airbnb anywhere if you have the data to back up that it is possible to make money in a market. We can talk about how to do that in a bit, but you actually invest in the amenity design and the backyard design. So like if you think about it, Airbnb, you hear interior design a lot because you think, oh yeah, everyone's going to be inside sleeping, it's got to be nice. But most people, when they're in a house with 8, 9, 10 people, don't want to be inside. They want to like go outside. And so we're in this new era of amenities arms race, kind of where you have to really blow out your backyards. So I kind of think that as long as you're hitting a specific avatar or demographic in a major metropolitan area, you will do well, so long as there is data to show that hosts are doing well. So like saturation, for example, is a myth. I think that a lot of people are like, oh, these markets are oversaturated, I can't do well. I think oversaturation is great because I can look directly at data online and see who's doing well. And I can see exactly how much money is possible in a market, and I can take from those blueprints to launch something better. Right. So I think anywhere.
Well, I've had other guys on the show, and many have talked about how you really just want luxury properties at this point. Do you think that that's true?
Not really. I would rather spend, I would make different decisions that I've made in the past. I'll say that because I do have one luxury property. I think that a $400,000 property that you invest $100,000 or $200,000 in to the backyard and to the experience will make way more money than a $1 million to $2 million house where you invest like very little in. And I see a lot of people that have made that mistake and get their basically their lunches eaten by everybody that's buying these $400,000 or $500,000 houses. So I don't think you need a luxury house.
So they're over renovating these houses. Like if you're going to go put $200K into a $400K house, you're probably not hitting comps. Like you're way over budgeted.
So that's going to be the big,
like you're not going to refi for $600K.
No. And that's why you do need the actual cash to do it. And so that's the problem. Like, just to be clear, I started out in rental arbitrage. I appreciate what it was. It's a cash flow game. It was my launch pad. So I don't want anyone at home that's your only way into the game. I'll support you.
They should just wholesale.
Yes. If you're going to try to make swaths of cash in real estate or real estate adjacent, you should, I would say so, probably. Yeah, like unless you are really passionate about getting into Airbnb, then I would say that.
But I would still just wholesale, even just like, I don't believe in rental arbitrage, like for many reasons you're talking about, but it's like, the only reason you do it is because you don't have a lot of money and you're trying to just get into real estate and make money. I'm like, bro, just wholesale, go make 15K, 20K. And then now you're learning how to find deals and properties and, you can start doing things.
So that's the thing. So rental arbitrage, you usually don't have money, right?
Yep.
Or you usually want to test out Airbnb if you do have money because you don't want to commit. But regardless, you're not incentivized to invest in the experience. You are incentivized to launch as well as you can for as little as you can. So you do need the cash to do what I'm talking about, the 100, 200K to invest into the property. The problem is that you put 200K into a backyard to make it a super backyard. The ARV is not necessarily going to keep up with that. Mm-hmm. And so you do have to make that decision, like what's the line that you're willing to or what side of the line do you want to be on whenever you're doing
to like truly over renovate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but the cash flow follows like crazy though. I'm telling you, like,
so how much could a $400,000 house make? Let's just say, okay, I'm all into this house at $500K, right? Mm-hmm. I put cash into it, down payment, my mortgage is, I don't know, $2,500 to $3,000.
All right, I got an example for you. So my house, I have a house in Austin. It is a Bachelorette themed home. Everything is pink. It's called the Pink Pickle.
Who chose to do that?
My partner at my interior design company.
He's like, is it a girl?
It's a girl. Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right.
So you were
like, I want to do this.
No, I wanted a dumb concept. And she was like, don't do that. She was like, Austin, Texas is the _1 or like top 10 city for bachelorettes. We're going to design for that. And I was like, fantastic. Let's do it. So I buy this house. It's a $400,000 house, $440,000. The mortgage on it initially was $2,500 a month. And I went soup to nuts on it. The actual renovation costs and all in, I probably put in $400K with just a little bit of caveat that I can cash out refi and take a lot of that out because the value is much higher. I've kept my money in, but if I were going to do a burr and pull my money out, I would only have 120K in the deal.
Right.
I just like to have equity in some of my homes. So with that said, that house needed a full top to bottom renovation. It would have been a lot easier if I had just bought a house that didn't need to be renovated, because it would only cost me about 150K to do this. This mortgage is $2,500. We're charging $1,200 a night, Thursday through Friday, and we're usually booked basically every weekend from mid-March through the end of October. So this property, now I've raised the price to $1,500 to $1,600 a night. So I usually do $5,000 weekends. My best month was $20K on a $3,500 or a $2,500 mortgage. So on my best months, I do like a $14,000 profit on a $3,500 kind of monthly expense. So it's not bad.
That's great.
Yeah. So the
best I've ever heard.
Yeah,
for like a cheap thing.
It's really good. It's crazy. But the actual profit after all expenses, everything, I gross now about 120. After about 60 of expenses, I make about $60,000 a year on it profit.
And is that counting the mortgage and everything?
Yeah. So after everything,
okay,
I make $5,000 a month net profit on one property.
And a cheap property too.
Cheap property.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. If I had gone out and bought it this was a weird one. It was supposed to be.
If you don't do the weird stuff to that house, it loses money.
No. Oh yes, as an Airbnb,
yeah,
absolutely. It would make 50K.
Like somebody buys that house, they're like, I want to buy this for an Airbnb.
No, yeah, it would have failed. And the person that I bought it from had a failing Airbnb. So I bought it to flip it because I had a wholesaler that was like, dude, like you're going to make 100K. You just got to put in like 50,000 into this. And I was kind of like, I'm dumb. I do real estate for content. Sometimes I'm like, I'm going to try flipping. And I very quickly, Austin turned around from being an amazing city to invest in to a horrible city to invest in. And it was going to be this thing where I was going to have to invest 100K to break even. Ooh. And so I was like, well, if I'm going to invest 100K, I might as well turn it into an awesome Airbnb.
And that panned out for you.
It did. So at any point, if I'd like to, I could do a burr. I could do a refi and get a good amount out. But yeah, there's some nuance with that specific deal, but it's a good one. And those are the types of deals that we launch now. So I have another client in Austin that does 425K after putting about 150,000 into the house.
They do 425K a year?
Mm-hmm.
What's their expenses?
Their property was 1.8. And I think I want to say their profit's probably going to be like 150 to 200K.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great deal.
Yeah, it's amazing. They bought it as a primary. They lived there for many years. They had a great interest rate on it. They bought it for 1.8. It's, I think, now worth $3 million. So they got in early as a primary investment, and instead of selling it, they just turned it into an Airbnb. So that one's a bit of an anomaly too. But I mean, we just had a client that launched in Scottsdale, and they launched at the beginning of January. It's right now January 29th. And in the last 3 weeks, they've booked $202,000 in future bookings. So it's not uncommon. Like I'm seeing that everywhere, but it is absolutely like people that are putting in north of 6 figures for sure.
So what I'm hearing is you want to be in a major metro, which obviously has like people wanting to visit.
Mm-hmm.
You want to overinvest into your renovation and your backyard experience.
I wouldn't say overinvest, but I would say maybe like invest correctly.
Well, I mean, nobody's going to make a house that's $400,000 and put $200K into it. And like, it just doesn't, it would never make sense otherwise.
Correct. Yeah. It only makes sense in the use case of short-term rentals.
Right. So you're going to go above and beyond and know that at least from an ARV perspective, it doesn't make sense.
Yes. Right? Oh, yeah. I would agree. In some cases it can, but in general, like it's very hard to justify a $200,000 renovation for the sake of boosting boosting ARV just from a backyard like renovation.
Yeah. So, but backyard is a huge thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then would you say, what about the theme? Because you're like, this Bachelorette thing kills it. Is it like, does everyone need a theme?
Kind of, but dude, I'm just so touchy on themes. This is what I talk about themes a lot on the channel, and I think people,
which is massively growing, by the way.
That's right. It's almost the largest mid-sized real estate channle out there.
The largest mid-sized channel.
It's the largest
it's like
Airbnb
a midterm rental
YouTube channel in Houston. But Okay, so I talk about themes a lot, and people will take what I say and try to apply it. The problem with the theme is that there is a very fine line between a very experiential, immersive experience and like a Spencer's gift shop. And what I mean by that is I see a lot of people that are like, I'm doing Super Mario themed, and then they will paint their wall red, and they'll do like green sheets, and they'll buy a Super Mario poster from Walmart, and they'll be like, see, it's a theme. That's how you go broke, for sure.
I'm like, what am I staying in right now?
Yeah, exactly. And I see it
kids' room
all the time. I see it all the time. Whereas a true theme, we just launched a Harry Potter themed property I want to say it was in Ohio, and the house was kind of castle looking. And our client came to us and they're like, hey, this house doesn't really make sense as a house, but I think it would make sense as a Harry Potter theme. And so we were like, okay, yeah, well, let's do it. So we went all in. We had like candles hanging from the floor, books like attached to the wall. And it actually feels like a scene out of Harry Potter. Like you could shoot, I've never seen Harry Potter, but I have an idea of what it's about. You can shoot a scene in the bedroom and it would feel like an authentic piece of the movie. That to me is a theme. And to do a theme correctly, you really have to spend $20K plus. Whereas I see a lot of people try to do it for $5K and under.
like per house or per room?
No, per house.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, I would say it's like themes are one, but I also don't think that I don't think a theme necessarily means like Disney theme or Winnie the Pooh theme or Shrek theme. Like that's kind of more of a kind of one-off type of thing. When I think of themes,
But I wonder if that would make sense in like Disneyland.
It does. Yeah. Okay. Those are very popular out there.
Okay.
But when we're talking about themes in the entire country, like you would want to do like the Margarita Mansion is like one that or the 19th hole. I'll say that this will relate to you. So my partner Bridget, she created a concept called the 19th hole, and it's basically a golf themed property. All the rooms have special like kind of like green plaid wallpaper. There's like mini putt. And so it's a theme in that it's like golf themed, but it's not like a cheesy, like we're not just sticking like putters on the wall. We're actually like making it feel like a really curated, hyper premium golf experience. That to me is what a theme is. It's not necessarily taking a character from a show and making it like an Airbnb, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, if you're looking to get started in real estate investing, then you need to use our Cashflow 2.0 system. We give you all the motivated seller leads. We give you software, one-on-one coaching, and everything you need to start your real estate investing business. And we've seen so much success from our students with this system that we are willing to guarantee it. So if you want to learn how it all works and how you can get your first real estate deal today, go on over to wealthyinvestor.com and apply. Someone from our team will get with you, and you could have your first deal within a week once you get on this system. So head on over to wealthyinvestor.com and we'll see you there. Yeah. That's why we named it Mastermind 19.
Yeah.
The 19th hole. Is that house near like a big golf course or anything, or it's just random?
So what she'll do is she'll come up with like 10 different themes now, because oftentimes we'll get clients that come through the door.
Oh, that's like a template.
Yeah. So we have like a templated theme where like we have a mood board and we show what it would look like. And then we'll go to the client. We'll look at all the data. We'll look at all the people coming to the city. We'll look at the top performing Airbnbs. And then we'll say, hey, there's this niche of this person coming to your market, and no one has an Airbnb that's like doing anything to do with golf, but it's North Scottsdale where all the golf, like things happen in Scottsdale.
Yep.
We should do that. And we really push our clients to like trust us on that. And then if they say yes, we will invest very heavily into curating.
So you're telling them basically, even if they don't have a passion for golf,
Correct.
It's like, oh, you own a house and, we're going to Pinehurst in March. I was showing you those trips, and it's like guaranteed if somebody had this 19th hole theme near Pinehurst, it would crush, because that's the only reason people go there is for all their golf courses.
Where is Pinehurst? Where's the...
It's in North Carolina. It's like an hour plus from Raleigh.
Is it open yet?
Oh yeah, it's been around forever.
Okay. There's another market. I cannot remember what it is, but we just did a study on this. There's another market where there's going to be this new golf course being developed. It's supposed to be the super epic golf course in the United States. I want to say it's in Oregon, but I don't know.
Bandon Dunes?
Okay. Could be.
Yeah.
The problem is there's no Airbnb. All the Airbnbs are kind of these old, crusty Airbnbs.
That is Bandon Dunes.
Okay.
There's nothing to rent.
Yeah. So we have this one kind of earmarked for someone that's like, hey, you're about to have lots of millionaire golfers coming to this market. You're going to want to spend $300K on this because if you do, you can make like,
You'll kill
X
it.
amount. Right. Yeah. So I think it's kind of trying to find those little things and making sure that when you're coming up with like a theme, it's not like a random thing. So you wouldn't want to create like the Margarita Mansion in Kentucky, right? You would want to do
The
like
whiskey.
Yeah, you'd want to do like the Bourbon Batch House,
Yeah.
right? And do like a Bachelorette, or sorry,
Have you ever done a
Bachelor.
bourbon one? That'd be tight.
Yeah, they're working on one right now. Mm-hmm.
So you think you create themes that identify with the culture
Correct.
of that city.
And then to go back to what you said, you should never design an Airbnb to your taste.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You do it for whatever the market wants.
Yeah, but dude, you'd be surprised. It is hard to convince clients sometimes because, they're like, I would never stay here. And it's like, that's kind of the point.
You're not living there.
Yeah.
You're trying to rent it.
And I mean, a good example of this is like my wife. We just designed my Airbnb in LA and my team did it. And my wife is like, she's just a hard person. Like she's always like, well, does it have to be this color? Does it have to be this? Can we do a sign here? Or can we remove this neon sign? And it's like, I get that this isn't like a house that you want to live in because it's your house, but I'm trying to design this to make us the most money on Airbnb.
Right.
And, as a result, we get to have this like free house in LA that we can go to whenever we want.
Right. Side note, if people want to use you for design, how do they do it?
You can go to funkitinteriors.com.
Funkit.
Yeah, funk, like FUNKIT, interiors.com. And
where did the name come from?
They like to, like Bridget likes to funk things up. That's all.
Okay.
She's like, let's funk it up. I'm like, great. It's catchy. Yeah, tell them, tell them that Ryan sent you and we'll give you a little something.
There we go.
Yeah.
How'd you meet her?
So she actually, like a super viral Instagram designer, has gotten like hundreds of millions of views on like Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
So she approached me and was like, hey, can I like design a place for you? And I was like, yeah, how much are you? And she told me and I was like, oh, I was like, I don't think I can afford that. Because I was at this point at the journey, I was like kind of 1.0. I was like the host that I'm complaining about. And then
I think you're still kind of that way, but go on.
okay. Yeah, I'm getting there. And
we talked about what you're trying to do in business and breaking false beliefs.
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true. Listen, I'm growing, all right? I'm a growing boy. But I had this flip in Austin that I was going to flip.
Yeah.
And when I found out that I was going to have to like put so much money into it to break even, I was like, well, I guess I'll turn it into like the best area. I was like, if I'm going to spend the money, I'm going to hire like the best. So I ended up hiring Bridget and she pitched me on this Bachelorette themed home. She's super, just like her and my other partner, Blue. They're just really with it. And we just had such a good time. And so we were like, I think we should try this. I was like, I have a trusted name in the space. She's got impeccable design. He's great at operations. Let's try this thing. And we launched about 1.5 years ago. And now we're launching like 20 to 30 properties a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You guys are growing fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't expect it, to be honest. But
yeah.
Yeah. It's been great. But it's been cool because I now have such I have a very strong opinion about how Airbnbs should look. And like, I never want to buy a house again unless I do it this way, and I can't afford to do it all the time. But I get to work with people and help them do like the literal best Airbnbs in the country. So I kind of feel like I get to, in some ways, I have like unlimited budgets to like create really cool Airbnbs. So from that standpoint, I have like the opportunity to stay ahead of some of these trends.
Yeah. What about these markets that were vacation towns and they get super oversaturated? Like one of them that I kept always hearing about was like, oh, we're in the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
The Smoky Mountains. And then I think you even had one up there.
I've got some places up there.
What do you feel about these smaller markets that attracted a lot of investors?
Okay, so there's a whole thing to look at there. So you asked about what markets work. In general, I'm a big fan of national parks. National parks and state parks attract millions and millions of people. Like the Smoky Mountains attracts 14 million people a year. So over 1 million people a month go to Gatlinburg, right? You never have to pay for marketing for the Grand Canyon. You never have to pay for marketing for Joshua Tree. These are cool hotspots in the country. I still think that they're really great places to invest in. Where the saturation comes up in a place like Gatlinburg is that everything is a tongue and groove interior with bare art, bare toilet paper holders and just like really tacky bare stuff. And so I think the people that tend to not do so well are the people that are like identical to every single person out there. So we're even pushing like cabin design up there these days. I still think the Gatlinburg market is good. I think it got a little crushed the past couple of years because it got a lot of publicity.
Yeah.
A lot of people came in and spent 300K over asking, and now they're eating it now.
Yeah.
It can't cash flow today.
Yeah, that's kind of the point I was making earlier. It's like the normal property you're going to buy just because of the price and the rates is just your basis is so much higher on a monthly, mortgage.
It was bad out there, man. Like for a bit, because it's like it's frustrating. You want to buy a house in 2021, 2022. You want to buy it at what it's listed at. You have all these people that are offering 100 or 200K over because of how popular that market got. And people were doing it, and it was and it was working. And I'm just like watching this, being like, dude, there's no way that this cabin that was $250 is worth $500K in a year.
Yeah.
And like now, a lot of those guys aren't cash flowing, and they're trying to sell.
Yeah.
And they got to take 100 or 200K loss.
That's kind of what I looked at with my Big Bear properties. I would guess it's probably, I've never been to Smoky Mountains, so I don't know. But I mean, we have cabins and it's, vacation market. But, I bought
old musty cabin.
Yeah. But it was the same thing. Like I bought these cabins for $200,000 to $300,000, a lot of them, killed it. Then they became worth $500,000. And I'm just looking at them. I'm like, yeah, I don't know that this is worth that. I'm going to sell them. And I thought in my head, I go, the person I'm selling this to, I don't really know what they're thinking because the math don't really math, at the end of the day. Like it made great sense for me when I bought these in 2017, 18, 19. But now me selling them in 22, 23, I don't know that it makes a lot of sense for this investor, but hey, more power to him.
Well, if you think about it, because I mean, I'm like, I try not to sell. It kind of hurts. I feel like a little piece of me dies every time I sell. But when you think about it, like, let's just say
I flip houses for a living.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah. So normal day to day.
Yeah.
But like, if you think about why it's okay to sell an Airbnb, if your Big Bear property is making $20,000 a year profit, let's say, but you can make a $200,000 profit
on my equity,
on your equity, why not take the 10 years of cash flow today?
Exactly. We call that return on equity.
For sure. Like, go put that in somewhere else.
That's what I looked at.
Yeah.
It was like, I bought them and they did make great cash flow. I mean, my very first one, I was making $4K a month, call it $50K a year top. My mortgage was like $1,300. And I was self-managing and everything. Like, it was great cash flow. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'll make, I don't even know, $12K a year, $15K a year. I don't even know what the number was. But overall, I was making good cash flow. But then, I looked at it. I'm like, dude, I have $200,000 in here. Do I want to keep making $15K a year? And if I think the market is also about to like maybe get regulation, my property definitely is deteriorating. It just deteriorates over time, and you're going to have, the CapEx. And I just made the choice to sell. I think it was right.
Did you, now looking at the prices, were you right?
I was right.
Okay. Yeah. Here's the other thing. Something you said kind of sparked this in me. The other thing that I think became the big problem with Airbnb in the last couple of years was, and I have a cost segregation company, so I understand the benefits of cost segs and depreciation. But a lot of people were buying these properties that they knew were not going to cash flow.
Right.
They're like, oh yeah, it's going to lose $5,000 a month or, $5,000 a year, whatever. But I'm going to save $150K on my taxes. And it's like, okay. And then 5 years of losing $15,000 a year adds up, and you realize that you're $60K in the hole. How much did you really save on your taxes, especially when you decide to sell your property? And then you have to pay recapture tax on all the bonus depreciation. So those people get hurt two ways.
Yeah, they got double screwed.
Yeah, and they're the loudest. So the whole idea with like a cost seg and doing bonus depreciation, it's amazing. The greatest, in my opinion, the greatest form of tax advantage in the real estate game.
But it's like a fake tax advantage.
Okay, in what way?
Well, in that at some point you have to pay the piper,
Well,
if you sell or 1031.
Exactly.
Or your most popular
die.
video.
Yeah, that's right. Or you die. And that's the whole idea, is that if you hold on to your real estate, like not everyone, like if you can get 200K from your Big Bear property, as Ryan Pineda, oh dude, 200K, the things I could do with that.
Yep.
Not everyone does. And a lot of people are okay with making 20K a year.
15K,
Yeah, whatever. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you're like a buy and hold person and you're a little bit more by the book or traditional and you keep it for a long time, the longer you hold on to it, the less it hurts you. But yeah, I mean, you can hold on, kick the can down the road, 1031 exchange, like you said, pass it on to your heirs, die, they get the step up basis. Like there's a lot of ways to avoid that. But I think a lot of the people though that bought these properties are like software engineers, doctors, like high income earners that are like, dude, I need to save the 200K on taxes. They're hearing all these guys on YouTube, like talk about the tax advantages, which I do, but I also talk about what I talk about more than the tax advantages is how hard it is to have an Airbnb. They don't watch those videos. They just watch the tax advantages one. They get screwed over for 5 years by picky guests. They lose money. And then they're like, it didn't work. I'm too big. Like, I cannot, this isn't passive.
Yeah.
The guy on YouTube that said I could live on a beach is wrong. Like this is so much work. I'm like, yeah. Like you don't buy an Airbnb just for the tax purposes. You just don't.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
whenever I see guys do that for any form of depreciation, they're like, bro, I'm about to buy this car. I'm about to buy a jet. I'm about to buy this piece of real estate. And I'm like, hey, I get it. You want depreciation. It's all good. I'm in tax firm world too. So I get it. Right. But, you got to pay the piper. Like my point, like these things aren't free. The jet for sure. You got
how many people do you know buying jets?
I think there's some ballers on here.
Yeah.
I had Cardone in here 2 days ago talking about how he kept having to trade up. He went from like a $5 million to a $7 to a 30 to a 70 million. And
yes, he had to.
Well, he was basically the jet goes to crap eventually after X number of years. And you would have to, he's like, I would have to recapture the $40 million if I don't trade up.
Oh, I see. Okay. That makes sense.
You're forced to trade up because he still needs another write-off.
Yeah.
Like that's how it happens. So he has to basically double.
You know what David Green calls this? He calls it holding a wolf by the ears. Means like you can keep your depreciation in your real estate. Like you can have the control as long as you have the wolf by the ears, but you can't let go.
Exactly. And that's my point. Like the rental, the moment you did that cost seg, you're stuck with it pretty much for life.
Yeah.
If you never want to actually recoup, right? And the car too. The car's the same thing. It's like, all right, dude, you bought this car, but guess what? You want to get rid of it and move on. You better go get another car, and it's probably got to be higher because it's now like you sold the car for X, and
unless you keep the car. Wow,
people don't keep cars.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you keep the car for a certain amount of time, but I don't want Jasmine DeLucci to rip me apart.
She rips you apart?
No, I don't want her to. She's much smarter than I.
Okay. So yeah, it's just depreciation is just one of those things where I love it, but I don't think people comprehend its true, in that it's kind of just a temporary solution.
Yeah. There's things you can do. Like you eventually, you can, it's more about when you place it in service, when you have the short-term rental in service, eventually I think you can turn it into a long-term rental. You can hand it off to a property manager. But I think the point of the story is for the initial time and for however many years it takes to manage it, you're kind of in for it. And if you don't have a passion for short-term rentals, yeah, it gets old real fast, man. And I'll tell you, in 2026, the guests on Airbnb are the pickiest they ever have been by far. Like that I hear people saying all the time, and I actually believe it's true now.
Yeah.
Like I think not to put all Karens in the same basket, but the Karens, they're out. Yeah. They're out, man. And I'm a really good host and I take care of my properties, and the stuff I've been dealing with this year, I'm like, dude, they just have us they have us because they know we are petrified of that 4-star review. And they will
it's like Yelp, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yelp is like the mafia.
Yeah, because you have to pay to get your reviews filtered,
Yelp,
right?
Yelp will call restaurants and be like, yo, you got this review. How bad you want it off?
Mm-hmm.
Just
back in the day, before I was a real estate investor, I worked for a small social media agency. And our job was we ran social. This was before algorithms. We ran social for delis and bakeries and car washes. And man, these were just kind of older mom and pops that would be like, man, this Yelp review is killing me. And it was all the 1 stars were at the top. and then you could click filtered, and it would take you all the 4 stars, but in order or the 5 stars. In order to see the 5 stars, you had to pay thousands of dollars to flip flop it. And I just remember being like, Yelp is so scummy.
Yep.
Speaking of, today's podcast is sponsored by Google Reviews. Be sure to use our affiliate link down below.
Chat reviews.
Coming.
Yeah, they for sure are coming. I'm trying to get on chat ads when they finally launch.
That seems like that's going to be in the next couple of months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be anytime soon. I think it's going to murder it.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's what they need to turn a profit.
They are not turning a profit right now. They are burning more money than ever before.
Yeah. So all to say, let's talk about that a little bit, because so reviews are tough. Guests are tougher. The new era of Airbnb, and I'm not saying anything that's groundbreaking to you, but I think to hosts that have been a little bit behind the times, I think the new era of Airbnb are direct bookings, creating your own brands, creating your own kind of experiences off of the website.
How much of your revenue comes from direct?
Well, now it's a little skewed because I just bought a 13-unit tiny home development. That tiny home development does, on average, $85,000 to $120,000 a month, and last month, 60 to 70% of it was direct.
Wow.
Yeah.
But obviously, it works for something like that better.
Yes.
That's kind of like its own hotel.
Correct.
Kind of deal.
It does, but here's the problem with Airbnb is that it is your one source of income.
Oh, I get it.
And so...
but how do people for a normal run-of-the-mill house that's just got a nice backyard, how many people are really going to find it direct?
They're not going to find it direct. And so it's not about necessarily reaching new masses whenever you have like a regular short-term rental.
You just want repeats.
You want repeats. And, you'd be surprised. It is hard to... Okay, so my wife and I, every year, we go to Copenhagen for a month. And
every year?
Well, sorry, we've gone for the last 2 years. We're going this year as well.
For a whole month?
Uh-huh.
Why? Why do you guys do that?
So, the first time I went to Copenhagen, I was really broke. It was the first year I ever started Airbnb. I was making like $1,000 to $2,000 a month. And it was the first time that I felt like I went from living paycheck to paycheck to actually making real
That was
money.
like your ADU, right?
No, it was a rental arbitrage.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
okay.
So this is my first thing. We decided we had to sit down, and my wife's like, I want to have kids. I was like, all right, we can do that. Let's go to 10 countries first. And so she was like, sounds great. How are we going to pay for it? I'm like, I have this Airbnb money. It's like making $1,000 to $2,000 if you can believe it. And she's like, okay, let's do it. And so the first or second country we went to was Copenhagen. Really expensive.
Yeah.
And so I remember going, and I had a great time with my wife, but like everything was like, she would order a Coke, and a Coke there is like $6, and I'd be like, hey, you sure you want like a Coke, right? Well, what if we did water? And then water there is like $3, like at a restaurant. And I just remember being so stressed. And I remember thinking to myself, one day when I've made it, I'm going to go back to Copenhagen and like actually enjoy it. And I think I have made it relative to what I've been trying to do. So two years ago, we went back for a month, and it's a magical place when you don't have to stress about.
But like a month is a long time. You just want to.
I want to live there.
Oh,
not like live there forever. I just mean like I want to feel like I live in a place for a month. Like it's not a vacation because I still have to work. I still have
you're
companies.
just living there.
Yeah, I'm living there for a month. You got kids. Like when you're on vacation, you're just living somewhere else with your kids. And that's kind of what it is. And like to travel that far, 14 hours on a flight with 2 kids, I'm like, I'm not doing that for 5 days. Like if I'm going to be on a plane for 30 hours, I'm going to be there for a month. So that's why.
Got it.
But going back to it, we've tried to book both Airbnbs that we've stayed at again. And both times they won't let us. So I'm
won't let you.
The host, they're like, hey, it's not available, because it's like a lot of the people there actually rent their home and then they'll go on vacation.
Got it.
Moral of the story is we like to go back to places that we like. And we would like to go back and stay at Airbnbs that we know, hey, our kids liked it here. There was no glass tables. Our kids aren't going to die here. It's relatively childproof. So to go back to your question on like who actually wants to go back, I think it's more people than you think. But if you own a single family residence, and it's just like let's take a nice Airbnb, you're not going to make it real that makes someone book your property directly. Unless it's like mine, my bachelorette party home.
That could get.
It does. Yeah. Like, because when Bridget was putting it together, I I think she said she got like 50 million views on all of her stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I get a lot of bookings directly. I think last year I did about 35K of the 120. I think the year before that I actually did 55K.
Wow.
Yeah. So unless it's like an epic experience like the Harry Potter house I was telling you about, a single family residence is going to be tough. But you do want your repeat guests. And the way you would do that is when you go to Marriott or Hilton or wherever, and you try to log into their Wi-Fi, you have to put in your email a lot of the times. They do that to add you to their email list so that they can remarket to you.
Right.
Very similar thing on Airbnb. Your game is how can you get every single person in a household to give you their email? Let's say you host 10 people on average, 5 times a month. That's 50 emails that you can get times 12. What is that? 600?
How do you get their emails?
They would have to give you the email to log into the Wi-Fi.
Oh,
you
you do the
attach
same
that
thing.
to the router. So you get a 600 person email list.
How does it work with, so does it function just like airplanes and hotels? I didn't know you could set up a personal Wi-Fi like that.
Yeah, you can. It's just like oftentimes it's like a device that you can hook up to the back of your router.
Got it. So it's like, welcome to Rob's place.
Mhm.
Put your email
Email
here
here.
to get the access to the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and so right now we are kind of working on another thing. One of my students came up with this little widget where it's basically like you scan a QR code to log into the Wi-Fi. So once you scan it, it's like enter your first and your last name here. And as soon as you click it, it connects you. So like there's like little tricks and stuff that you can do that way. But if you have one listing, you can get 600 emails, just in this example, in a year, 1,200 after 2, 1,800 after 3. If you have 10 homes, that kind of builds up pretty quickly.
Right.
So it's all about just the basics of funnel marketing. What you need to do with any successful business is grow your email list.
Yep.
And if you can do that, you can get your repeats. And even if you get 5% of the people back, man, like that ends up being pretty profitable.
Right. No, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, when you save the 15% or, whatever. What was the change that I saw on Airbnb? Like they changed their fees and who pays
kind of
it?
annoying. So, so Airbnb charges host 3% and they charge guest 12.
Yeah.
And so they said, hey, instead of charging it to the guest, we're now going to charge the hosts the full 15%. So that guests stop complaining about the fees. So now hosts have to mark up their prices 15%.
Yeah.
To absorb that. But a lot of hosts didn't know about this. So a lot of
They never raised their price.
They never raised their price. So they make us normal hosts look really expensive. So there was definitely a slump there.
I was gonna say, like, I don't mind that they did that because
it does make sense.
Yeah, it's like a realtor commission
Yeah.
for selling a home. It's like the buyer doesn't pay, cost. The realtor or the seller just pays it. But yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, I could see how the transition was annoying
Yes.
because the other guys got killed and they just didn't know, which killed you.
So both people got killed.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And that's like Airbnb in a nutshell, man. Like I love it. I'm grateful for it. They're really making it hard to love them sometimes. Any chance you
Do they have less listings or more than before?
more?
They have more.
It's growing. So as much as everyone wants to say it's dead, it's like,
What about visits? Do you know if visits have increased? Because maybe there's more listings, but the same visits.
well, their revenue is always up year over
Okay.
year.
Yep.
Yeah, and quarter over. Like they're always breaking their own records and stuff.
Okay, so they are getting more fees.
Yes.
Got it.
But what makes them really hard to love, man, I don't know if you saw this. I know that you don't necessarily creep around my social media per se, but like, did you see that girl that tried to throw a massive party at my Scottsdale mansion?
No.
Okay, so there's this girl wanted to throw a 2,000 person party. She makes a TikTok and she's like, hey, all of Arizona, we're going to have the biggest New Year's Eve party that's ever been in Scottsdale. I booked the coolest Airbnb. The host said that I could, all this stuff. Some good Samaritan goes on Airbnb to look for a house that looks like it fits the description of her TikTok. And he sends me a message. He goes, hey, I don't know if you know this, but this girl wants to throw a massive party at your house. And I was like, oh my gosh, send me the TikTok. I see the TikTok and I go onto my calendar to confirm that the girl that booked on New Year's Eve was the girl from this TikTok.
Right.
And it was. Unfortunately, she did this to the wrong guy. So I create a stitch and I basically, stitch between her and me. And she's like, the Airbnb host said I could do this. I was like, no, I didn't. And she's like, I spent over $10,000 on this reservation. I was like, you actually spent $5,000. And I kept doing that and basically blew up, got 5 million views.
Oh, that's funny. I got to watch that.
Dude, it's really good. I honestly kind of felt bad because she it was bad. Like the comments were, it spawned all these TikTok reactions and people being like, "Did you guys see what just happened?" And people were like screenshotting their phone and showing like hers, and then they'd scroll 4 times and then it was mine, and it was like the craziest like 5 days ever. And she sent me a cease and desist. I don't know, like a whole thing. Point of the story is, I canceled her reservation because I'm like, no, you're not going to do this. She reports me to Airbnb for making the TikTok. Airbnb delists my property.
No.
Yes. They delisted me for canceling her 2,000 person party. And I'm just like, dude, Brian Chesky, if you're watching this, you owe me an apology, buddy. CEO.
That's crazy.
Anyways, I got it back. But like, that's just a good example. That property books anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a night, man. And it's like off air for 5 days. Like, that just cost me money. Yeah. So it's like the big lesson that like, no matter how great of a host you are, if you get delisted off of Airbnb, you've lost your job.
Yeah, so many people tell me that who try to do Airbnb. They're like, Airbnb is always going to side with the tenant.
Always.
And just, it's like they don't appreciate the host.
No, I understand why they do it. I don't hate the player, hate the game, but like, it would be nice if it felt like they threw us a bone every so often, and it feels like the guests have a lot of bones.
Yeah, it's like it's like the host is guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, you delisted me, so I made a couple calls and emails and I got it back, but I'm like,
did you make any hate videos
to Airbnb? No. They don't know who I am. Like, it's so weird. I went to Airbnb headquarters and I'm like, how's it going? And they're like, yeah, so what do you do? And I'm like,
I'm the guy.
I'm like, I've increased the valuation of this company so much. And, like one person, she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're here. I try to get an Airbnb employee who like presented at this thing I was at. I was like, hey, I'd love to have you on my channel on a podcast. Like what you talked about was great. I think this would be great for my audience. And she was like, yeah, you could probably just find an article on everything I just said. Like, no, I'm good. I'm like, don't you want this to reach as many Airbnb hosts as possible in my head? And she's like, yeah, we'll see. And I was just like, this is weird. It feels odd,
I mean, when you're just a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah, I know. But I'm like, you would think they would have like I feel it's truly, I don't want people to watch this and be like, he's so entitled. But I'm just like, you would think that they have a understanding of who their main influencers are.
Yeah, for sure. But for sure, no.
No.
You ain't one of them.
I'm not one of them. I guess I haven't arrived.
Because, after that, Airbnb called me.
That's right.
They were like, we're not dead.
You technically have more subscribers still, so you're a bigger influencer than I.
And they're like, hey, you need to quit making these videos that we're dead. We're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
I'm like, until they throw me a bone, all my thumbnails have fire and the Airbnb logo in it. That's what this thumbnail is going to be.
Mark it.
Yeah.
It'll at least be on 10 split tests.
Yes.
For five red fires.
It always, I mean, I just,
blue.
They have the 3 split tests now on Airbnb, on YouTube. And I just did a video that was called like the Airbnb game as we know it is over. Here are the new rules. Kind of some of the stuff we're talking about. And of course, like the one with the fire and all, it was like instant. Like usually it takes a couple days for Airbnb.
They're like, nah,
it was just like, oh, this is the one. So I'm like, all right, doom and gloom. But I do agree, ultimately, like I do watch your viral reels about Airbnb and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's some truth to it.
Yeah.
Because for 90% of people, they're just not keeping up.
Yeah, 90% of people are dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's all business. I've been having more real estate guys on recently this year. And so I've been debating, well, I don't even want to say debating, but just having conversations with people. It's like, yeah, anyone can have success in anything. But the reality is for 90% of people and most, especially in the rental market of any rental, they're struggling. That's just the truth. But
are the top 10% of them struggling? Would you say?
Well, I'm saying that there's 10% doing good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 90% of people are probably struggling in anything to do with rentals.
Oh, I see. How has that split changed from like, let's say 2021? What percentage would you have?
I mean, what do you think? What percentage of people you coached in Airbnb
did well? Probably 70-30.
70% in favor of doing well?
Yeah.
And now we're at 10% do well?
No, I would say 10% do extremely well.
Yeah.
And probably like 30% still do well.
Yeah.
But
so it's
flipped.
Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah. There's like a spectrum.
And that's the point, right? It's flipped on what it is. And I tell people too, it's not just rentals. It's everything. It's harder to be a content creator. It's harder to
harder to be a content creator in the real estate space.
Yeah, it's
no one wants to hear what we say.
Yeah, it's harder to do everything right now. It just is.
Sell conferences,
the education space. It's all harder.
Everything's compressed.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I feel bad because I've taught so many people how to do this, and my new message is like, launch the best of the best, and it kind of leaves less room for anyone, because I do think anyone can do it.
But they got to be really good.
But you got to be really good, and you have to have capital to do it well, and it's like, it eliminates a lot of people. It just means that I think you got to go and find out how to make your cash flow somewhere else first, or partner, or OPM, and build it up from there.
We'll teach them how to wholesale wealthy investor.
Okay.
Get them some money. Then we'll send them over to host camp to go and get some write-offs and depreciation. And that's how they have to do it.
Depreciation that they can, hopefully
hold forever.
Hold for a long time until they pass it on to their heirs and die.
Speaking of that, how much of Airbnb's I would say hype came from the short-term rental loophole? Would you guess?
Smaller than you think, I think. It's a very different person. Like the person that I coach on that, a lot of the people that come to me in my program are very like sophisticated. Like they want to develop from the ground up and build, and they want they want to apply their genius from like all their tech fields into building like a true Airbnb product. I rarely have someone that comes to me and says like, hey, I want you to coach me so I can get the bonus depreciation. So I think the amount of people doing it is probably less than you think, but maybe like 20%. I don't know, man. I talk about the loophole so much. I've done so many podcasts. I've gone viral on, I shout it from the rooftop, and it's this thing that is a true benefit that I still can't get people hyped about. So that's why I'm like,
okay. So it's a small portion. People are more so getting Airbnb for the cash flow.
I think so. Yeah.
Not the taxes.
The smart ones get in for both.
Yeah.
But rarely, because like I said, dude, I mean, if you're losing $20K a year, that bonus depreciation is only going to help you for 3, and it sucks after that. So it's small.
Do you think, or do you ever get tired of talking about Airbnb? You said I've been shouting this loophole forever and no one cares,
Yeah, I get tired of, I enjoy talking shop. I think I enjoy talking about the bigger concepts and like the future of it more than like if you were like, hey dude, let's sit down and do this podcast and I want you to give me like your top 10 tips for hiring a cleaner. I'd be like, I
ain't gonna talk about that.
Let's not do that. Yeah. But if you're like, hey, Airbnb's dead, change my mind. I'm like, yeah, no, let's do that. So I enjoy talking about the bigger stuff, but I these days I'm not really like,
what would you do for a guy like me who would, and I still have 2 Airbnbs. But man, now I'm thinking about it, I've had them for like 8 years. That's kind of crazy. But guy like me, I'm like, hey Rob, you know what? I do want to get back into Airbnb because nothing else cash flows. So like a normal rental ain't cash flowing. This is my only option. But I want to be passive. I don't want to look for deals and design bull crap and, do all this. Do you think it's easier to just partner with a guy like you or an experienced operator and bring the capital to the table? Or do you think that a guy like me, even though I have real estate skills, but let's just say a high income earner should just try to do it themselves?
Not really. Like if it depends on what they want their life to be, Yeah. Like if you're trying to actually replace your 9-to-5 job, I would say it's going to be a long time before you can do that. I think the power of Airbnb comes whenever you make a high income and you can make an extra like 2 to 5K on top of that or more, right? Like 5, 10K, however
it's
much.
Supplemental. It's not replacement.
Yeah, it can. But I just think anyone who like retired on the premise of Airbnb, like in 2021, 2022 would have had a rough couple of years. So I would say they
have a JOB now.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. So I would say like, if you were like, for real, you're like, hey, I'm interested, but I don't like, can you do it? I would say you'd probably be better off investing in kind of like a short-term rental syndication of sorts. Like, for example, I just bought that tiny house village that I was telling you about.
Do you guys syndicate it?
Yeah, to my friends and family. Like it was a homie deal because we got a really good deal on it. We only needed to raise 1.5. I put in I think 800K of it myself. I brought in mom, dad, sister, cousin, uncle. Like
Yeah.
I wanted them specifically in on it. But that would have been a deal where I'm like, this is a good one for the investors because the upside is there. That's probably where I would steer someone that's in that position, in your position, that's like, yeah, I want to be totally passive because I think that's just like the most upside that you can get from a deal versus like, I don't know, if we split a house, like the Pink Pickle, for example, if I was sending you a $2,500 distribution every month, I'm sure you'd like that, but I don't know. I think your upside would come from like commercial valuation on a syndication.
Yeah. What about the tiny home deal? So with those tiny homes, do you get full depreciation on the entire home?
Well, it'll be, pro-rata to like the land split on it. But yeah, so we will basically have to, in our study, identify how much the land was worth on that 5 million. So
well, you bought the land.
Yeah.
You know what it's worth.
Yeah. So, we bought the development and we're developing it further. But yes, like our cost basis on that 500,000 is probably like $800,000 in land.
Yep.
So the other like 4.2.
You get to write that all off.
For sure.
Because they're tiny homes.
Correct. Yeah. So, that's a pretty good case of like, yeah, I probably won't have to pay taxes for several years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice. That's like,
I have been thinking about that with just like RV parks and stuff like that, because it's like you get to write off the whole amount of the dwelling.
Yeah. But how does that work if the RV park doesn't have a dwelling? Like if it's just a pad, are you just writing off like the concrete pads?
Well, no, like these guys will buy the land just like you, and then they'll put, the maybe RV is the wrong word, but mobile homes.
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so they'll go buy the $100,000 mobile home and put it on and rent it out and all that stuff, but they get to write off the full 100K.
I remember, man, when I was first getting into kind of BiggerPockets, I was like exploring all the podcasts, and there was some podcast out there that was like mobile home investing. It was like two guys like us that was like talking about how they buy mobile home parks, and they're like, yeah, we bought this one for $1 million, came in, did some landscaping, added some tenants, and yeah, it's worth like $7 million now. And like they would just talk about all the deals they did, and I was always just so mind blown at like how, if you're very good at this commercial game, you can come in and buy these. Yeah.
Well, you know what I've realized about commercial? I mean, commercial really is just business. Yeah. And that's what it's like, increase the NOI and you get this multiple.
Yep.
And, businesses are the same. Build a business, you get this multiple. And I've been thinking about that a lot because you and I were just talking about it with the different businesses I have. And I'm like, man, is it easier to just, go buy all this commercial real estate and like go try and, because they are businesses. I mean, you're running everything else that a business runs. You got marketing, ops, sales, you're a hospitality business, And I'm like, or do I want to just like build a golf club and, other stuff that's more digital, let's just say, and no debt and things like that. And I think I've now chosen that path. And yeah, you don't get the main, I guess, negative is you don't get depreciation like commercial real estate would, but the positive is you don't carry the risk of debt and all the other things that real estate has.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm kind of on the opposite.
Okay.
I was like, well, I like am trying to actively walk more these days, get my steps in and all stuff. So I walk in my neighborhood a lot. And I remember the other day I was like, how can I make more money? I'm just like, I've got businesses that cash flow.
Yeah.
I'm just like, but how can I get like really rich? And then I was just like, kind of just thinking of a bunch of ideas. And then I was like, oh, I could buy this land and I could develop this. And basically I was like, oh, just do more real estate. Like, yeah. Like it's not going to be cash flow rich, but like, I just kind of, it's funny how I started in real estate, started wandering in businesses. And now I'm kind of like back in the commercial game where I'm like, yeah, if I just did this like 5 more times, like I could sell for many, many, many millions down the road. And like, I, have the wealth that I never thought imaginable kind of thing.
We had Cardone in here a couple of days ago, and Brian asked him, he goes, hey, Grant, what do you think Ryan would need to do to become a billionaire? And it's like, it's not like that's my goal or anything, but he was just asking him. He's like, well, you have to make a lot more money in your businesses. And then he was like, well, do you think you can become a billionaire through real estate? And Grant's answer was basically like, yeah, I mean, you could, but it's way harder. It's way slower. He's like, Real estate is the slow way to build wealth. He's like, but you build a business and you can grow it way faster and add more value to it way more. Like real estate, there's only so much value you can add to the specific property. And then you got to buy another property and another property. Whereas a business, you create this one idea and you can just, blossom it. And he was talking about his different businesses and things. And he was like, 10X Health, we took it 5 years ago and it does 10 million a month right now. We can IPO it for $1 billion,
Yikes, that's crazy.
And it's like, yeah, that's 5 years. I don't know if anyone making $1 billion in real estate in 5 years, like is literally impossible.
Yeah.
Right.
Pace would probably be the closest. And I'm sure he's still not there, but I'm just saying.
Well, no, but we're saying like net $1 billion, not $1 billion of assets.
Oh, I see.
People get $1 billion of assets. That doesn't mean anything.
So was that the premise of the question? Like $1 billion?
How do you be a billionaire?
Yeah.
That means you have that much equity.
So, because Cardone is a billionaire.
Yeah.
And is it not from real estate? Like it's a little bit of real estate and also a little bit of his businesses?
It's mainly his businesses.
Wow. Okay.
It's not real estate.
I always assumed it was real estate.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like he said it on the show, and it'll come out, so we'll link to it. But he said he owns like 14,000 units. He said 6,000 are his alone. Only he owns them.
Not bad.
And they cash flow 1.6 million a month. That's what he makes just on those. And
he's been cash flow, like
cash flow net. That's what he said. And he said, he's been accumulating that for 30 years, ever since he started making money. And then the 8,000 are in a syndication, Cardone Capital. And he said, really, those don't make a much. And I uncovered the same thing when I started syndicating. And others like Brandon Turner and others, like I've talked to him about it. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought I was supposed to make like a lot of money doing big deals, but I'm not making any money.
It takes a while. Right?
Well, you only make money on the exit.
Yeah.
And so unless you exit big, you don't make money. And so I was like, and these syndicators who've made a lot of money, they've been doing it for decades, right? So it's just deals and deals closed. But even for Grant to say that, he's like, yeah, people think we make all this money off, promotion fees and all this crap. He's like, it's not anything compared to what I make over here. I do it because I want to help people get a return on their money. And he was basically saying like, I forgot what the number was, but he's like, we send out 8 million a month in distributions to our investors. He's like, you'll never see a headline for that. And, but that's what we do. I was like, that's crazy.
8 million in distributions is insane.
A month.
That does make sense. I mean, I guess it's all relative because I kind of feel like I'm just, with this deal that I have, we bought it for 5. I think that once it stabilizes, 8.25 is kind of where we're at. That could be a little more, a little less.
Yeah.
We're going to build more on top of it and get it to, my goal is to get it to 12 million on about,
And that'll be kind of its max value with the land space.
Well, we can get it up to like right now it's 13. We're going to get it up to 18.
Yeah.
That particular lot can do 23 on that side and then another 23 on the other. So we can phase it out. I'd say fully maxed out on kind of like the current lot. Max would probably be 23 properties at about $16 million valuation with about an additional like $1 million.
Right.
So it's like a pretty good deal.
No, it's a great deal.
Sorry. Yeah, I should not. It's an amazing deal, but I'm like.
But then you hear $1 billion.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess I could do other things. I'm like,
But yeah, and I guess the premise of the question with Grant that Brian was asking was like, okay, your options change when you're shooting for $1 billion. If you're shooting for 10 million, there's lots of
everything is easy.
Everything's an option
at a small amount. We were just talking about this before the podcast. That development gets 12 ROAS.
Yeah,
but we spend $2,800, a month. Last month we spent $1,500.
Yeah.
It's returning, on their $2,800, I think the revenue is $35K.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But, if I spent $20K, the ROAS would be far less, right? So it's like, this is something we talked about. One of the things that I did like on BiggerPockets was, David kind of got into this theory of like, the more money you try to deploy, the less you're going to make. Like billionaires are trying to make 3%, not 10.
Yep.
Obviously everyone wants to make 10, but it's like
everything has diminishing returns.
Yeah. And so it's like,
that's why they pay so much more for a big business, because it's so much harder to get there.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many break points that happen.
Yeah.
And even Grant was saying that with, because he's done over $1 billion in just education sales.
Really?
Yeah. And I said, Grant, what do you think is going to happen in the education market? It's pretty tough. He goes, he agreed with me. I go, I don't think information's valuable. He goes, I don't either. This is a guy who sold so much of it. And we were just talking about, M19 and golf and other things. And he's going into professional services now with IRAs and, wealth management stuff. And he's like, this is way better money.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's just interesting as people evolve.
I'd agree. I mean, I started off education with Host Camp. Now I have Funkit, which is design. And then I've got a cost egg. And then now even Host Camp, we're doing way more done for you, like working with you through a development versus like group coaching calls. Like we do that still, but I do think that
that's just like a bonus.
Yeah. The education space is very much the more done for you can be. I think that's kind of where it's at. And I'm seeing a lot of people actually in the space doing well, doing things that I'm like, oh yeah, I guess maybe I should try that.
But speaking of that, you talk about BiggerPockets. What's it been like now? It's been like what, a year?
I think a year and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your reflections now after everything? I saw you and David Green did a video. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, we did. It was pretty good. It's at least watch The Hook. I think we put that one together pretty well. We made it pretty spicy. But I mean, I think we're like, I'm good. The thing with me, and this is what I've always pushed David on, but like I always had my social platform and content before BiggerPockets. My social platform and content didn't happen because of BiggerPockets. So like, when it ended, I was like, well, my job was no matter what. And I tell this to all my business partners and all my companies when they're asking me to do stuff. Like, I'm like, hey, look, everybody needs to be on the same page. My job is every Monday at around 3 p.m., I need to drop a video. And the number one priority in all my businesses needs to make sure that they support that, or else the businesses will have a hard time making money. Everyone's on board with that. So when the BiggerPockets stuff ended, it was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, my job has always been post on Monday no matter what. So I feel like I kind of got to meet all the people that I wanted to meet. Like I met Pace, Jamil, I interviewed Hormozy 2 times. Like I've met and had an amazing Rolodex of some of the coolest people out there. I've interviewed Grant Cardone's like other kind of manager, like Ryan Secco. Like, I've gotten to meet some people that I'm like, yeah, this is like a life-changing experience. I'm happy to have done it. I think that my reflection is I think they're very slow moving. I think that the hosts are awesome people and I love all of them dearly, like the actual humans there. But I think the private equity came in and kind of tanked it, in my opinion. And I think that they are not adapting to the times. And so I think that's my stance. And I'm happy to be in a place where I feel like I can, if I feel like the times are changing, I can just change and I don't have to like ask for permission. And I don't have to ask for permission to say things on my own podcast, if that makes sense. Not that I was there, but there were certain topics that were not really encouraged to talk about, like creative finance, for example. Pace came in at a time where creative finance was the savior of real estate, and BiggerPockets was like, no, house hacking, that's it. We're like, but none of that works. Doesn't matter. I'm like, but what if the person is 45, they're married with 4 kids, and they make $200,000 a year? They're like, house hacking, and that is all for today. And I'm like, all right. So, you don't have any house hacking? And they're like, but I have kids. I'm like, buy a duplex that's detached. Like that's kind of how it felt sometimes. And then, like no one is there anymore. like the hosts are, but like all the producers, all the internal talent. Yeah, they also got old Yellard, I guess. So
I wonder how many employees they have now.
I'd be curious. I don't know.
Do you know how many there was when you were there?
Oh. But no one none of the people I worked with are still there.
Right.
Like literally.
Private equity does ruin a lot of things. I've heard of many businesses after, I mean, and it makes sense, right?
It does.
Key people leave. Of course, when Brandon left, I mean, he was BiggerPockets.
Big time.
Yeah.
Those are hard shoes to fill, man.
Yeah.
I got small feet.
Do you think you filled them decently?
No. But I think the interesting thing about BiggerPockets is that they had a trailing 6-month audience. So basically, or like a revolving 6-month audience. So every 6 months, it was a new audience, basically.
Huh.
They still had kind of the fanatics that would follow along and stuff like that. So eventually got to the point where when I started, it's like, oh, you're not Brandon. And then the new audience comes in and comes to like us and comes to like the, the camaraderie between me and David. Me and David have been gone for a year and a half. It's now Dave Meyer and Henry Washington. No one remembers me and David. So that's fine. That's just how that kind of funnel and client cycle goes. And it's like, good for them. Like, I'm happy for the hosts. Like I said, they're all good people.
It's kind of interesting because I give kudos to BiggerPockets because that was how I learned.
Mhm.
And I started watching the podcasts and Brandon and bought the books, and I literally self-learned just from that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's a rare thing for most people, but back then too, it was like literally the only resource at the time. I mean, this is 2014 when I'm doing this, and I literally watched every episode, and it was life-changing. And I think now it's just back to, hey, things are harder.
Mhm.
In 2026, there's a lot of guys who talk about real estate. Do you want to listen to you, me, all the people you mentioned, TikTok, Instagram? It's not just podcast.
Yeah.
It's hard to stand out.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing is, like, as much as I love social media, I just think that like short form kind of, dude, I don't want to say it killed real estate content for me, but it is kind of like, I don't know.
You're an actual like content creator purist. You are like a YouTuber,
Mhm. I try to be.
Like, I don't even consider myself a YouTuber. I come out here, I make videos, and like,
No, you're a machine.
I'm a machine.
You are.
Yeah.
You are one of a kind for sure.
But you are like the traditional YouTuber when we first started, with like the Graham and the Kevin and these guys, where you're like editing your own videos and making them funny and interacting.
I'd say I'm in between because there's like you, and then there's like Graham, and I would say like Graham is
a full YouTuber.
Full YouTuber. You are like content, but business drives a lot of what you do. And I'm like, I started here, but very quickly I was like, well, how am I going to make money? Like, right? So it's like, I got to figure out how to monetize the thing, but I definitely still.
You're just a very good creative.
Yes.
Is my point.
Yeah, I am a creative for sure.
Yeah.
I was in advertising before this. So, I mean, that's what I did for I was a copywriter.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. For Gatorade, Hyundai, Old Smoky Moonshine, Sonic. Like, I wrote for a lot of brands. I wasn't very good at it though, funny enough, but good enough to fail up.
Copywriters, are they going to exist with AI?
Wait, so this is interesting. Yes, I think so. So previous to this year, to this month, I read 0 books in the last 5 years.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How did you learn?
I'm ADHD. I have to watch stuff. So I went to 52 movies last year. So like I am a visual.
I read about 30 to 50 a year.
That's good. That's impressive. My wife read 100 last year.
Whoa.
Yeah. Which is like always like, hey, I'm here. Talk to me. Cause she's just like,
she's just a bookworm.
But it's like, she is. And I'm like, I love to watch her do that because I know like the best indicator for a reader is what their parents are, right? Like I know that my daughter watching my wife read, my daughter will be a reader. And so all to say, this month I've turned it around. I read 6 books. I just finished my 6th book on the flight here. Yeah.
How do you why?
Because my wife inspired me. She read 100 books. I'm like, dude, if she can read 100, I can read 10 this year. And so I started and I had a friend that I connected with in college again with my wife. And he was like, let's write a book. And next time we talk, we'll talk about the book. So he assigned a book and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this. So I stopped watching all TV. I did dry January. I like kind of January is always my reset in general. No pot, just everything. Okay. And so I was like, what am I going to do?
Did you say no pot?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm not just California sober, like all the things.
Okay.
I don't do that much pot, but like, I was like, if I'm going to do dry January, like, let's keep it all mind clear, right?
This all makes sense to me now.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, did he say pods or pot?
No
Okay.
no podcast for sure. I stopped listening to podcasts the moment I became the BiggerPockets co-host. So anyways, I was like, what am I going to do with this clear mind? I'm going to read. So that's what I've been doing. So now I probably will read 7. I'm going to go for 7 this month.
I thought you were going to say, and I'm going to read 7 for the year. So I'm like, I just got to go one more.
No. I'm going to try to do 52. I'm going to try to do 52 movies, 52 books. But point of where I'm getting at is that reading books has made me realize how much AI slop and garbage there is in the entire online community. And it kind of sickens me to read stuff online now because it's so bad. Like I'm reading these books, I'm like, oh yeah, people can write well. I forgot what this is like. It's like enjoyable to actually write authored work. And so because of that, I'm like inspired to both read more and just like I've been off my phone more. And then also I think I'm going to start my book this year. So
got it.
Yeah. So
AI is not going to write it.
AI is not going to write. And that's why I haven't written a book yet, because I knew if I started it, I would use AI. And I'm a writer. I'm like, dude, this is what I do. I can, dust off the cobwebs and, blow the dust off the vinyl record,
Yeah.
Like I got this.
Yeah. So a good copywriter still exists, but the bad ones are just AI now.
So, Hormozy is like my idol. Like I love, he is just, before I say what I'm going to say, like I've learned so much from the man. The one thing that I think has spawned from that is this niche of people in my inbox that are like, hey, Rob, what you doing with your email list right now? What if I got you $52,000 extra to your bottom line? No work from you. Hey, Rob, I made a loom breaking down like what your funnels are and like issues I see on your website. Mind if I send it over? And I'm like, why didn't you send it over if you made it, you freaking liar? And so it's like, hey, Rob, I like did this. Hey, Rob. Oh my gosh, it's so frustrating. There's this whole niche of people that are like in this whole like hustle, like funnel world.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, none of them know how to write. Yeah. And it's funny because I'm like, it's like I don't know if you watch Parks and Rec, but there's this scene where Ron Swanson is like in Home Depot and the guy's like, sir, can I? He goes, I know more than you. And then he keeps walking. And that's how I feel like. I literally, if you message me on Instagram about literally anything marketing related, I block you.
Yeah.
I literally block 5 people a day because I want them to be like, what happened to Rob? I thought I messaged him. And then they're like, block. So no, I don't think they're good. I think that copywriting is a dead art. And I can pick it out. I can pick it out so fast because I'm armed with ChatGPT as a writer. Unstoppable. No one can write better than me in my niche about what I do because I'm a writer that learned how to use ChatGPT. Everyone used ChatGPT and learned to write over the last 3 years, and it's just so bad.
Yeah. No, I agree. I wrote my very first book, Flip Your Future. Mm-hmm. I wrote it in 30 days. And actually in my Big Bear cabin. First one. And it was great. And it was to the point. There was no fluff. Mm-hmm. It was great. People liked the book. Then I got a ghostwriter for Wealthy Way. I made the course, which were my words and all that. And then I said, this is the course, make it into a book. And, that's that. But I mean, like writing and speaking are very similar. Mm-hmm. And so
you would correct me forgive my ignorance here. You are open about the fact that you had a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is because I just read a book this month called Die with Zero. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Great book.
And at the end, the guy, Bill Perkins, also thanked his ghostwriter.
Yeah.
But he was like, I had all these ramblings and they turned it into this. And I was like, oh, okay. So I think this is a thing. I guess I assumed if you had a ghostwriter, you wouldn't.
I mean, for me anyway, I'm sure lots don't. But for me, I'm just always
I'm sure lots do.
No. I'm saying they don't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, lots do. And they don't say anything. For me, bro, I just don't care. Like, I just tell people what I do.
Yeah, that's true. I do appreciate that about you.
If I win, you'll know about it. If I lose, you'll know about it. Like, it just is what it is.
Yeah, I just wrote a foreword for Ziana McIntyre. She's like a creative realtor. So she knows creative finance. She's a unicorn realtor. She asked me to write her foreword.
That's cool.
And she asked me for like 8 months for it. She's like, hey, it's getting close. And I was like, I'm going to write it, I swear. And then she was like, hey, yeah, so deadline was like last week. Can you just send? I was like, fine. And I spent so long,
right?
Because I was like, I'm sorry, I just didn't want to use ChatGPT. And I wrote it. And I was like, all right, that was hard. Who writes anymore? But I'm like, now I'm in this world where I think the writing is bad everywhere. And BiggerPockets wouldn't let me write a book for them. So I think now, going back to the reflective thing, I am like, I'm going to do all the things that I wasn't really allowed to do, or like things that.
That's crazy. They wouldn't let you write a book. They let everyone else write a book.
Yeah. Well, they asked me for pitches, and I was like, oh yeah, well, I've got this book idea for short-term rentals. And like, well, that's going to compete with Avery. And Avery's great. She's a friend. But I was like, well, all of your books compete with all of your books. Like, there's not that much stuff you can do in real estate. It's like flip houses and burn house hacking. And you've got 10 books on each one. And they're like, yeah, well, it's just going to compete. I was like, all right, whatever. So anyways, this year I'm going to do mine. And I'm going to do it my way. I think if I had done it for BiggerPockets, it would have been like, how to start a short-term rental. And it's like, my book is tentatively called, I'm still working title, There's a Stranger in My House, there's a stranger in my house and they're paying me for it, a convoluted guide to starting a short-term rental business. And it'll be a handbook of all the crazy stuff that I've dealt with and cleanups and all that stuff that I've done as a host. So that's my goal for 2026. Get it started.
Sounds like chicken soup for the soul.
That's right. That's the goal. Yeah.
I get it. Well, bro, it's always good hanging out with you, man. I appreciate you coming out, speaking at our Forge event. And
for sure. This is a great event, dude.
Thank you.
If you guys are ever thinking about doing this event, I'm not just saying this, but like that room is nuts. Nobody has a 9-to-5 job. All very entrepreneurs. Like, amazing. Yeah. I have never been in a room like that before. So very, like, seriously, kudos.
Thank you. Yeah, no, we work hard to curate the right room, and that's kind of where I'm headed. It's like, I love helping beginners, but now I want to focus on my live thing. I'll help beginners online, and all my live things, I want to be around high-level people.
You're doing it. That's like, I felt several notches higher just being in that room. So congratulations.
There we go. Appreciate you. Well, hey, what is it? Funkit Interiors?
Funkit Interiors.
Yeah. funkitinteriors.com. Go check it out, guys. Tell them I sent you.
Funkit Interiors / Pineda.
/ Ryan.
Yeah.
That'll be easier.
Right. Okay. I think. But if that doesn't exist, we'll leave a link for you in the description down below, and we'll get you guys hooked up.
There we go. Guys, go check it out, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace. Like, what are you defining as a boutique hotel?
By definition, a boutique hotel is any hotel that's non-branded, it's non-flagged, so it's not going to be a Hampton, it's not going to be Ramada Inn, a Marriott, Hyatt, but it's independent. And then also by definition, less than 100 rooms. For us, we're really targeting stuff that's 60 rooms and under.
Okay. Why?